Welcome back to the Unstuck Movement. As always, I'm your host, Rob Z. True testimonies of breakthrough on the platform. Today, we're talking to the incredible Dan MacQueen, and today we're going to talk about shifting your mindset, being better than yesterday. How do we bounce back, resiliency, getting into some real talk and healing in our lives and gamifying the growth in our life, which I can't wait to talk about that. But Dan, I'd like to jump in right off the bat with a question. And I know you had a major event happened to you back in London in 2014 that shaped and changed the rest of your life. Can you dive into what happened and how the events transpired that started to really change who you are?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. First of all, it's great to be on the show, so thank you for having me. My story takes back in 2014 in jolly old London, England, working in tech, big nights out, had to keg at the office on a Friday night that would polish off when we split to the pubs. Night bus home at 4 a.m. Life was fast. Life was loose, brother. It was the best life in my 20s in London. Started having these headaches. Headaches got worse after a few weeks. Painkillers like candy for them. My head was pounding. On the tube one day, the tube's how you zigzag around London, lumbering towards Notting Hill Gate tube station on the District line. Slow roll at the best of times. Headaches were so bad, my vision turned starry and I saw spots. And slowly started to fade to black. It was a race as who could arrive at the station first, me or the blindness. Stepped on to Notting Hill Gate tube station, mind the gap, and the lights went out. I couldn't see a thing. I was blind on a tube station in London. So Rob, I want to ask you, able-sighted guy your whole life, all of a sudden you're thrust in the depths of blindness on a tube station in London. What do you think? What do you feel? What do you do?
Yeah. What do you do, man? Well, I'd like to think that I would, if I didn't know anybody on the tube, I would, the person closest to me, hey, I can't see, something's going on with me right now. Could you please just help me navigate off this when it stops? That's as far as my mind would go, and get myself to a hospital or somewhere where somebody could help me.
That's a good response.
I might not do that, though. I might totally panic and have a total mental breakdown.
I'll tell you what I did, Rob, and that's absolutely nothing. I stood there and I froze like a statue. The station's swirling around me, the noises, the smells, it's all there, but the eyesight's gone. I can't see a thing. After the longest 3 minutes of my life, my vision comes back and I carry on with my day. But the next day I go strolling back into A&E. A&E is accident emergency in the UK, like ER in Canada, the United States. What the hell's going on here? I was blind on a tube station in London. This is not normal. What's going on with me? They ran some more tests, and again, they thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. On the way out, they told me I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist.
Can vertigo cause blindness?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So they misdiagnosed it, right? So next day, I found myself in Mr. Patel's chair. He was midway through a routine exam when he stops the exam, excuses himself from the room, and he comes back a few minutes later with a sealed envelope, which he hands to me. He tells me to go directly to Moorfields Hospital, which I did. Well, Rob, tell a lie. I stopped at home first to grab a Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, the phone charger, and a white teat. Then I arrived at Moorfields Hospital, handed him the envelope. They ran the same test there again, then escalated me up to Charing Cross Hospital. We're getting somewhere. I'm thinking, this is positive. This is a good thing. Now, it turns out, Rob, I had a dangerous buildup of pressure in my brain caused from a non-cancerous cyst in my pineal gland. This caused the pressure to mount up, causing the vision issues, causing the headaches. Now, it turns out it required emergency brain surgery tomorrow. Now, it turns out my world's about to change altogether. After a frantic back and forth with folks in Canada, the last text message my mom received reads, "I'll see you soon, Mom. Think I'll have a new haircut next time I see you. Love, Dan." Bit of cheek, bit of charm. If I'm going down, I'm going out with a bit of class, you know what I'm saying? Mom's in the air flying to London on June 21st, 2014. I'm on the operating table. Something goes horribly wrong. And I have a massive bleed in the brain, a brain hemorrhage. And the cyst burst when they operated. Mom lands and finds I'm in critical condition. I was in a coma for 4 weeks, but was in out of consciousness for months after this. When all of a sudden, then I was going to walk, talk, and smile again. That's where life kicked off in a big way for me, Rob.
So from the time on the tube and this happening to that moment, how much time is in between those two things?
from surgery.
Mm-hmm.
12 hours.
Wow. So in 12 hours, everything.
Healthy, active guy. One day, some headaches causing issues to being like, you need emergency brain surgery to like on the operating table to having something go sideways. Had the hemorrhage on the table, so my mom was in the air still. My dad had to call her when she landed to let her know, hey, Dan's in a coma. He's in the hospital, just so you know what you're walking into. And I was in critical condition in the coma. And the alarms constantly went off, blood pressure spiked, heart rate too high. They used ice blankets above and below me to keep my core temperature down. This led to violent shivering. Family says it's horrible to watch. Hooked up to 13 tubes and hose to monitor various things, giving me medicine. I was in critical condition. My parents were told I may not make this. So life was throwing a wrench off the hop, man. It got pretty real pretty quick.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I want to go into it. We're going to go deeper into it. Before we do that, though, I just want to welcome everybody here, the Unstuck Movement. The whole point is everybody gets stuck somewhere in life. We all go through personal and professional things that we view as setbacks. How do we use those things as a setup for us to move forward? All right, so these are true testimonies of breakthrough. We're sponsored by the Connected Leaders Academy. Check out connectedleadersacademy.com. Over 500 heart-centered entrepreneurs all over the world serving and helping each other grow. And also the Pro Podcaster Academy. So if you're somebody who wants to launch a podcast, you've been thinking about it for a while, to help you become the authority in your space. Maybe you're the expert at what you do, but you want to be that go-to authority. You want to make a lasting impact on people's lives and also make incredible personal and professional connections. I'd love to help you launch your podcast. And if you have one, I encourage you to streamline it, to monetize it. You can do all those things. Sign up at robzwentz.com. Today with us, we have such a powerful, impactful conversation ahead of us with Daniel MacQueen. Sudden brain hemorrhage at 28 years old, had to relearn how to walk, talk, and smile. Now a speaker and resilience coach, he shares the mindset tools that helped him rebuild his life one small win at a time. You get that surgery done. What are you thinking at that point in time? Like where is your head at over the next, say month to 6 months? Because I wouldn't even know where to start. You've got to kind of shift everything and rethink everything. What was that period like?
Yeah, it was pretty abrupt. Woke up from the coma, can't talk. My mom, dad, and brother around the bed. I'm trying to talk to them, but I can't talk. My vocal cord was fried from the tracheotomy. You'll get me a pen and paper. Write down on the pen and paper, it will get me the hell out of here. Show me the cam, like, you make this happen. One eye's wonky as hell. My leg had atrophied in the coma. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair at the stage. He's like, what do you want me to do, dude? And slowly reality set in, like, hey, this is what happened to you. Thankfully, medical was covered by my European passport in the UK, so that was all good and gravy. But reality came shattering down, right? Like, able-sided guy, like an athletic dude, working in tech, social guy, and then I can't walk, talk, or smile. So to show you an indication of how bad things were, I want to talk about the splint that I had to wear to learn how to walk again, Rob, if I may. So the splint was like a cast you rub your leg to gently tease up the leg muscle to stretch it back into form. My leg had frozen at an angle in the coma. It was non-viable. Now, the first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy, I thought. This will be easy. Hinting it's not going to be easy, right, Rob? The second night after 20 minutes was painful. After 30 minutes, it was dreadful. After 40 minutes, it was unbearable. I buzzed the nurse, take the splint off my leg because I can't handle the pain. But I told them tomorrow we're doing this for an hour. I'm a walker, I can handle the pain. Big talk. It's the third night, they wrap the leg, tie it up with the ankle. Give me the clicker, the nurse call button. They go patrol the Wilson ward. Now, the Wilson ward was an L shape, so short on this side, long on this side, right? Short on this side, long on this side. They leave me in the hospital room that smells like only a hospital room can smell. Sanitized, sterilized. It's clean. But you're wondering what sort of atrocities have been committed under the guise of Lebanese ethnos. After 10 minutes, the leg's painful. After 20 minutes, the leg's dreadful. After 30 minutes, the leg's unbearable. Start passing the clicker back and forth, trying to distract myself from the pain. One, the eye patch data counter for the double vision I've got. I see two otherwise, which is, Rob, no disrespect, but two use a lot to handle, my man. Wasn't wearing this eye patch at the time, so I'm just groping at this clicker going back and forth, right? As the pain ratchets up my throat, I get more enthusiastic. Till eventually, inevitably, I dropped the clicker and it lands on holding on the floor 3.5 feet down the ground. Sugar, I say. I did not say sugar, Rob. Many adjectives of sugar were used, but sugar was not one of them. I look over the edge of the bed. There's the clicker there lying on the floor looking back at me. If I get that clicker, I can stop this pain. I can end this monstrosity. The only problem was a fall from that height might break my arm. In fact, I figured about a 50-50 chance of breaking my arm. A coin flip. Not the best odds. I changed tack. I'm trying to untie the slip, but it's tied up at the ankle, not at the hip. I can't reach that far down. I'm not that flexible. Help. Help. I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. But the word the Wilson was an L shape, right? Short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. They're at the far end of the ward. They can't hear me out for help. I decided to flip down and grab the coin, drop down and grab the clicker. Even if I break my arm, the splint's got to come by like this part number 1, 2, and 3. Lower myself up the edge of the bed, and I crashed down in absolute heat. Blankets, wires, cables, it's all a go. The arm holds, and I hammer the clicker, expecting the nurse to come bursting into the room like the bats have been put up. I kind of stroll in 5 minutes later. What are you doing on the floor, love? First of all, I say, that's a fantastic British accent in there. Would you say it from again? No, I didn't say that, Rob. Let's get the split off my life and tell you about this. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it matters, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it matters. The reason why I'm telling you this story is I learned 3 lessons from this experience. The first lesson being, probably most evidently so, let's not pass the clicker back and forth. That's a bad idea. Second lesson was let's tie a splint up at the hip, not the ankle. That way we can untie the issue that's happening going forwards. And the third and probably most profound lesson I learned was let's always be solutions oriented in this going forwards. When things go sideways in life, which sure as you're born, they will. Let's focus on the solution. How do you resolve your issue? How do you fix your problem? With the help of the splint, let's open and start walking the hallways of the Wilson. On the Zimmer frame, first of all. Then I moved up to the Ferrari, which was a 4-wheeled walk-around Ferrari race in red. I was watering around fast on this, and I called my Ferrari. Then I moved up to naked walks. Now, what's a naked walk, you may ask, Rob? I'm walking without sport aids. I'm walking naked. When I told friends and family I went for a naked walk, they were so aghast by this. The term kind of stuck. Then came
sounds very
walking.
freeing. A naked walk.
Very
sounds
freeing, man. Very freeing.
Yeah, nice breeze.
Nice breeze for sure, brother. Then the last story I'll share with you, and then I'll open it back up for questions, is constructive optimism. So walking in Tune Broadway. So Rob, have you been to London, England?
No, I have not.
Okay. Let me set the scene for your listeners right now. Tune Broadway is an area in South London. An area they call up and coming. Think loud sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boy, is it busy. I'm walking with a cane. I'm walking with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm literally Bambi on ice. I turn the corner to walk on the high street for the first time. Immediately get slammed into by someone. I stagger back a few feet. Someone scurries past me on the right-hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk over here. I'm thinking this is a pretty wild place to learn how to walk. After a few days of this, I was thinking this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying here? And then one day my perspective shifted. Maybe this is the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Maybe this is the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. And Tune Broadway didn't change, right? But it went from the worst to the best in my mind, and my mood reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe you can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit, shift that perspective a little bit. Iron Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Now, your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage, right? Facts. Will be a job loss, a breakup, a diagnosis for you, a loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth. How you respond? I'm offering a compass, not a map, but a compass. It always points towards true north. Look at things like mindset, perspective, and hacks. Hacks to allow you and your team to better yesterday, tomorrow. My name's Dan MacQueen. And the reason why I told you that story about learning to walk in Tune Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world look at changes. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that.
Amen to that, man. I couldn't agree more. And I love that. This is not a brain hemorrhage situation, but I had a very similar realization one day. I've always had issues with my stepmom, and we never saw eye to eye. And I was really working on myself in my relationship with God, and I was praying about this thing. I'm going to see my stepmom, and I'm going to do it differently this time. And so I went up there that day, and immediately gave her a hug, consoled her. And I was kind of like, I paid attention differently. I showed up differently. I showed up with a mindset of like not avoidance or fighting. I showed up with a mindset of how can I serve here? How could this be different? And while she was doing dishes, which was always the situation, we'd eat, and then she would do the dishes. My dad and I would sit and talk, and she would get mad. And so instead of that, I got up and I helped her do the dishes and gave her a hug and said, is everything okay? Man, she showed up different, right? She was different. She acted differently because I decided to show up differently, and I changed my perspective on the situation. And that was one of those moments I was like, and things have been different ever since, right? But that was one of those moments where it was like, okay, I keep doing the same thing the same way all the time. If I do it differently, how's that going to change things? I want to ask you, I love the idea of there's a blessing in everything if you look for it. And I would imagine somebody in your situation, brain hemorrhage, life changes completely, drastically within 12 hours. It'd be hard in that moment, I imagine, to look for a blessing. But if you had to give perspective on that, what would be the blessing from all of that? Would you say that there's one, or how would you answer that question?
Yeah, it's a great perspective, Rob, and thank you for sharing that story. That's a very cool interpretation of the perspective and showing up differently and how you want to be received. Yeah, I'd say the blessing in this is like, look, I should be dead. Full stop. What I went through in life, I should be dead, but I'm not. The odds of you being a human being are 400 trillion to 1. 400 trillion to 1. That's a staggering number of zeros. I had to look that up.
It really
I'm
is.
only Dan MacQueen because blip was in my DNA. Without it, it wouldn't be me. And I wouldn't trade myself for the world. I get to do this. So by shifting my perspective, like, look, I should be dead. I'm not. I get a chance to rehab and rebuild myself. It's not fair this happened to me. It's not fair. But guess what? No one cares. It's now my responsibility to navigate this change and navigate this hand. I'm lucky enough to have a hand in the first place. I'm not going to muck the whole hand because I don't like this one card. I'm going to play the hand of God, man.
Mm-hmm.
And damn it, I'm playing the hand of God. So reframing that stuff, the perspective, the worst know the best, like that made walking into Broadway exciting. Like I'm looking forward to the struggle, the strain. Like you're making me better at this. Thank you for the opportunity. And that made everything light and easy and not strenuous and difficult. It made it an opportunity for me to succeed. And I call like avoiding the pity spiral at all costs. And not the woes me, this isn't fair. Because you're right, it's not fair. But you know what? No one cares if it's fair. Everyone's going through stuff in life that's not fair. Mine just maybe is a bit more acute, a bit more profound than that, like a big T, big trauma. But everyone's got shit, man. And apologies for the language. Everyone's got stuff, and like when you can reframe it as to like, well, what are you facing here? Is it the worst or the best? Like you get to do this, man. So to answer your question, yeah, I saw the blessing in that, and I made a decision to move forwards in life and take step forwards.
What do you say to somebody who had something horrible happen to them and they are still stuck in it? So I think I can name a few people in my life who have had really difficult things happen to them and they never really faced it. So they never really recovered from it. So they could never really turn, to use a cliche, the mess into a message. Have you helped people in that? Maybe they've been something happened and they haven't recovered from it and they've been dealing with it for 10, 20 years. Have you worked with anybody who's had that sort of scenario in their life, or what would you say to them to help them to finally face and get past that thing?
This is gonna slap, but I'll tell you anyways because I think it's important to hear. Acceptance is the most important thing you can do if you hit that punch. Now that word slaps because it's like, you don't know what I've been through, Dan. You're right. I don't know what you've been through. 100%. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, acceptance for me has been the way forward. Acceptance is not relinquishing control. It's actually saying, I'm going to take control of this new parameters, a new board game here, and play this within my realm of expertise. I've got a new keynote coming out called Acknowledge, Accept, Adapt, AAA framework. You have to walk through each step individually in that order to navigate change. Let me walk through it for you group quickly. Acknowledge is the head. I had a brain hemorrhage. You got to think it. You got to like understand this is what happened to me. Acceptance is a pretty hard one. That's the heart. That's like you got to own it and really encompass that vibe in reality. And the third one's adapt. And this is where the fun part is, where you can adapt to your limitations and adapt to your new surroundings. Playing the game that has been put in front of you, adapting to the new limitations. And life for me is about, just being self-aware and adapting to what I've got limitations for now. And like, that's difficult to hear because acceptance is a hard word for people to understand. Without a shadow of a doubt, the faster you get to acceptance, the faster you can improve your lot. You can whinge about it for 6 months. At the end of the 6 months, you're still at square one. Unless I accept it now and take steps forward to this from this day forward, I can take steps to improve my lot. Acceptance is the way forward. And that's what I tell someone going through a hard time right now. And that word slaps. I know that, Rob, and I apologize if it is a disruptive word for you, for group, but like, that's my experience, man.
That's really good advice. And it's easier said than done. Of course, there's a process that has to be involved there. And like you said, I don't know what anybody else is going through, but I do know there's a process that has to be processed, and you've got to give yourself the space and the awareness to process it, right? Because you can unknowingly be holding yourself back from progressing through something, and you might not even realize that you're doing it because you're trying to protect yourself, which I mean, I totally understand. So I think that's just really understanding. I need to accept this and let the process happen as it happens. So with that being said, we got to pause real fast to shout out the sponsor of the show. When I come back, I really want to talk about that process and what play loose, look tight means to you. So I know play loose, look tight, something you live by. Just diving deeper into that because there's this happened in 2014. You've had over a decade of growth from this whole thing and challenges and setbacks and moves forward, man. And I want to know, day to day, how you keep moving forward, play loose, and look tight. We'll talk about it in 1 minute. Are you struggling to make consistent, valuable content for yourself? Do you want to have an efficient and effective way to create content that attracts the people that you want to connect with in life, the people you want to build relationships with in business? Do you want to be the go-to authority at what you do, at what you're great at? Would it be helpful for you if you had a platform that connects you to incredible people in your industry? The kind of platform that gets you leads and lands you clients without you having to beat down anybody's door or blow up anybody's inbox. Whether you're already creating content or you're desiring to start and it's something that's been kind of burning inside of you for a while, I urge you and encourage you to check out the Pro Podcaster Academy. Get started right now. Join the waitlist at robzwentz.com.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world globally. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Dan, loving this conversation, man, and just and your perspective on things. I love your sense of humor and the way you're telling this story. It's refreshing. What does play loose, look tight mean? Can you talk about that?
100%. Rob, thanks for the call out. Especially in my podcast, Play Loose, Look Tight. It's a life mantra in 4 words. Let me spell it out for your group. First 2 words, play loose. Play is the first word by intention. Life's about fun, about having light engagements. Play is the first word by intention. Play loose. Conversely, you want to look tight. Be on time with your dress and demeanor. Be professional in how you show up for yourself and others. So in 4 words, I've got a life mantra in play loose, look tight. That's how I live my life day by day.
You know, some days I love having fun. I love playing. Honestly, that's the thing I love to do the most. Some days you feel like you can't, or you're not allowed to, or you just don't feel like it. How do you get yourself to feel like it?
Look, going back to that stat I shared earlier, the odds of you being a human being are 400 trillion to 1. You get to do this. You can choose to go through life Eeyore, woe's me, or you can live life joie de vivre, fun, intentional, play loose. You choose how you show up day in, day out. It's a choice you make every day, and the key is to make that choice in the right direction every day. I've got that in me in spades. I'm a fun guy. I like joking, having fun, living life to the fullest. Maybe that's not you. That's fine. This is my life mantra and what I'm trying to bring forward into the world to showcase how you can navigate this change successfully. I think this way of looking at life is so key for navigating change and navigating the setback that I faced. By being light, by being fun, by being playful, and gamification is so key for this, right? So that's my perspective on this, Rob, and I hope it lands with the audience.
Yeah, well, it's a great perspective to have. As I sit and listen to you, so for me, it's always like, oh, easier said than done, right? Because I want to be able to have that lightheartedness throughout the day, but I'll find myself taking myself too seriously, getting bogged down in things that I don't honestly need to get bogged down in. So I really, it's a constant reminder and perspective shift, and I love, and I know this, like the chances of being a human being, right? So it's such a mind-blowing number when you like look at it. It's like, I can't believe that's even real. It's amazing that any of us even exist by the odds. If we could understand that, like at a core level, it would change everything. How did and I say how, I'm just curious for you, was that perspective, is this somebody that you were before the brain hemorrhage and you became more of? What showed up that wasn't there before as you've been since 2014?
Like, I've always been a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, fun, joking, light, enjoying life. But after the injury, I kind of realized that, look, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. I can be woe's me about this, or I can choose to look at it through a stoic perspective, stoic lens. Control the controllables is a word I use a lot. That means can I control it? Yes, no. If yes, do something about it. If no, I punt it immediately. I look at life through this lens now because it just makes life easy. Yes, no. If yes, do something about it. If no, I punt it immediately. Politics, medical stuff, vision issues, walking, head tilt and head movements. I can't control that stuff, so I punt it immediately, man. I can worry about what I can control and influence, and I punt the rest. And I don't know if that's the right way to approach life, but that's how I've navigated it so far, and it's worked out for me thus far. Look, it's not easy to get through day to day, right? Like every day I wake up with an intention, wake up early, make my bed, meditate, push-ups, shower in the shower cold. I'm learning to boot up my sequence for the day and be intentional for the day. If I'm not doing that, I can't be the best that I can be. And I've got a limited bandwidth now, so I've got less battery to spend on fact that I can't control. So I'm really intentional with how I approach life and view through this mindset and this lens.
Yeah, the control is everything. There's barely anything we can control. We can barely control how we react, and we can barely control our own thoughts, right? You can't even control what thoughts come into your head. So being able to engineer that properly is super important, and manage that properly is super important. And like you said, like your morning routine, things like that you decide to do, you have control over that. You have choice there, and you can control those things to a certain extent. Things might come up, things might change throughout the day, but you can decide what to do with that. And I love that perspective. So did we dive into the second set in 2015?
No, not yet. You want me to touch on that?
Let's go there. Yeah. What was the second set?
So July 28th, 2015, I had a second setback. And by setback, I mean I woke up the next day in the hospital. Beeping noise of heart monitor going off behind me, beep, beep, beep. What happened? What happened? What happened? Well, Daniel had a second setback. So I met my mom at the 2 before work in the morning. One day I didn't show up. Mom calls my cell, no response, walks up my flat, knocks on the door, no answer, opens the door. There I am unconscious on the floor. Calls 999 and rush to the hospital. Wake up the next day in the hospital being told, hey, Dan, you had a second brain surgery. What do you mean? The shunt in my brain had blocked, leading to hydrocephalus or water in the brain. But I've been working for a year to put this behind me to get ahead of this injury. I was back to work 2 half days a week, 3 half days a week. I was turning and burning, baby. And the carpet was pulled from my legs. I felt like the injury was just laughing at me. Like, you thought you had a chance, dude? You ain't going nowhere. We got you right back where you belong. My recovery's like a W, Rob. First setback's down here. I kind of scamper back up halfway up. Second setback's not where the person was, but much lower. The depths of the human experience, where your hopes and dreams are snickered at. Now I find myself in the ascent. And I'm climbing back up past where I was before. The mindset of the second setback was so key because I'd already done rehab. I wasn't entitled to go back to rehab. I had done that. It was on my file. I already done rehab. I couldn't go back to that. Yeah, but he had a second brain surgery. If we're done rehab, we can't do that in person. So the mindset of like control the controllables, rehab progress washed away in an instant. But I knew in my mindset that the rehab might have been washed away, but I knew I could rehab faster and better this time. This wasn't an overnight shift in my mindset. Let me be very clear, Rob. I laid in the suck for a little while here. Probably about a month. I was like, this is not fair. This sucks. This is horrible. Then I realized at rock bottom, yeah, maybe, but also bedrock. I can now build faster, stronger, faster. More solid foundation. Now I can build this faster. So I'm on the ascent now. Climbing back up. Now that second setback, Rob, was the hardest thing I've been through in my life. It took everything to keep my mindset pure to not go down the woes me, the pity spiral. But it's not what happens to you, but what you think about the matters, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I would even know what that is like, but I could imagine that the second setback, after spending almost a year in recovery and being like, well, that was hard, but I'm coming back, and then you get hit again, is like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, dude, I was turning and burning. Like I was back to work 2 half days a week, 3 half days a week, like back to being social at the pub, like with friends. Everyone like, you're doing so well, Dan. You're doing so well, Dan. And then boom, leveled, like carpet pulled from my feet. Wake up the next day at the hospital. What happened? What happened? And like all my progress is washed away. Like, well, we got the blockage, Dan, but yeah, the progress is washed away. Like despair. This isn't fair. This sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not fair, but guess what? It's not my fault, but it's my responsibility now to navigate this change and get back to this. And it's not easy, but it's simple. It's simple to decide that I'm going right. It just happens to be straight uphill right now. It's a mindset game, man. That's what I'm trying to get across your audience. It's like, it's not what happened, but what you think about it that matters, right? It's a mindset game entirely.
I absolutely love your perspective. And yeah, you're 100% right. So when you, in 2014, before the second setback, were you still fully functional when you came back from the brain hemorrhage? Like, are you, and forgive me, I'm just asking, like, are you able to work now? Are you still working now in the industry, or what changed? I guess, what changed after the second act that was like, you weren't able to do things that you were able to do before?
Look, cognitive stuff slowed down a little bit for sure. My battery's about 75% where it was before. I fatigued much faster. I worked 4 days a week at Hootsuite. Had Wednesdays off to recalibrate and reboot myself. And that was a helpful schedule to kind of keep myself fatigued and in check and make myself available for when I could work. There were some accommodations made by work for sure, but I was back to work at a pretty regular clip, 4 days a week, 80% of my job capacity and workload. And that second setback hits, man, and like work's like, well, we don't know if we caused this issue. It's like, no, you didn't cause the issue. It was a card that came in my hand, and Hootsuite was super supportive. I got lots of love for them. They let me get back to work and contribute in the company I loved. And I've definitely got some quirks about me for sure, but like I'm trying to make the most of this life I got now.
Yeah.
And it takes some self-awareness to navigate this change and to be aware of myself, my fatigue levels. I got to take a nap every day. Like, I'll take a nap after this podcast to recharge the batteries. But I get to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I get to be on podcasts and to start a speaking business because I'm alive now.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to take a nap in the afternoon to like mitigate the fatigue issues I've got. But like, how are you looking at life, man? It's the perspective that I want to share with your audience. Is like, this is what you can control. This, what's in front of your face right here. You get to do this. And if you can shift that mindset, dude, you can unlock the whole world.
Yeah. Yeah. The way that I like to think of it, and I forget who I heard this from, but your 5 foot world, right? Your 5 foot world is what you have control over. What's physically in front of you and what's going on inside of your head. That's your area of like, okay, I can have some domain over this. I can control this. Not saying you still got to deal with people and how they act. You got to deal with the world and how the world is. It's just that, but we have a limited amount of control and we should maximize that. And so this is a great reminder. I need to hear this every day. I have an almost 1 month old or 1 year old baby. And when you have a baby, I have an 11-year-old and almost 1 year old. And, babies remind you that you're out of control. Like, you just kind of like, all the stuff that was going is like, nope, forget all that stuff. You got to wipe a clean slate and just figure it out from there. And I had a hard time with that. I had a really hard being like set in this like rigidity of like, this is how things have to be, and embracing flexibility for somebody like myself can be really hard. And I like to think that I'm flexible until I'm met with an opportunity that causes me to have to be flexible. And then I realize how unflexible I am. And so I can only imagine in your situation, the constant readjustment to being flexible because of the unpredictability of what happened. Number one, that second setback, I can't imagine the level of like despair in that. And you want to control things. I would imagine I would want to control everything because I don't want this to happen again. And so to give that up and to have acceptance and surrender that over is incredible. I'm kind of rambling on this, but I just want to like commend you on that, because that's amazing. Like, to have that perspective, because that's a rare perspective to be able to get, receive, and actually live out of.
Well, thank you, Rob. I want to share one story with the group quickly, if I may.
Yeah.
I did these brain scans like 2 years ago at Health Tech in Eka, neuroscience clinic in Surrey, BC, Canada. Put this gel cap on your head, ask you questions like window, computer, microphone, speaker, coffee mug, laptop. See if your synapses fire or not. My results came back as average. Average, I thought. I've had 2 emergency brain surgeries. Average is pretty good. I read this as I'm shockingly average. There's no way I'm average. Have you seen what I've been through? I'm not average. But the more I thought about it, the more there's that average is pretty good. To be, I'm better or smarter than any one of you here today. I've just been driven to go forwards, toes over the nose of my board, riding this wave down. I'm average, man. You can do this. It's a mindset shift 100%. I'm an average guy with a mindset that's fostered in granite and diamonds. But like, you can take this on board and use this for yourself. I'm an average guy with mindset and drive out my wazoo. But like, you can do this too, man.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the encouragement. Everybody needs that encouragement. So I really value that. I want to encourage people to go to your website also. So if you're watching, listening right now, MacQueenDan.com, the link is in the description. What would you like them to do on the site? What can they expect?
I share a story from the stage there. Give me watch that story. If you like that story, let me know. There's a form you can fill out as well if you want to get me speaking. But there's a couple of videos there you can check my speaking on stage and see if those stories land with you. That story of walking into Broadway, that story of some other stories from my demo as well are in there. Check it out. Let me know if you want to talk to your group. I do a lot of online sessions as well. So online, something I did at Hootsuite for 10 years. So I've trained over 1,000 clients in EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So online sessions work pretty well as well.
Very cool, brother. MacQueenDan.com. And as we're wrapping this thing up, I just want final question. Just pretend like you're never going to talk to me or anybody who's watching or listening to this ever again. I can imagine what the message is going to be, because you've really hammered it home. But what message would you leave us with, knowing that we'd never speak again?
I'm going to go off the board here and pick something you're not going to expect to hear from me.
Oh, good.
Aim small, miss small. Let me expand on what that means. Aim small, miss small, progress over perfection. Pick a target you can hit, land it, and then expand the target. Momentum is so key for this. Build forward progress and momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Progress over perfection is the way forward in life, and just keep stacking momentum and building yourself up. I've achieved some massive goals, but I've achieved them by setting smaller goals and ratcheting up to that new baseline. So that goal to the moonshot goal is not a huge chasm. It's the next step, because it's a logical next step. Aim small, miss small is what I want to give your audience to take away. Rob, thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that takeaway. Thank you for your message today. Powerful, powerful stuff. Another true testimony of breakthrough. Until next time, this has been the Unstuck Movement.